Yes.
Hi, my name is Jeremy. This is Red Beans Recording. Today, we're doing a whole video dedicated to Synplant 2, the very unique synthesizer from Sonic Charge. I did a stream with this, as I have been doing with software that I find interesting a couple weeks ago. I was just like, holy moly, this is wild. It looks very wild, doesn't it? Like, it does not look like your normal synthesizer. In fact, I think it looks a little creepy with these little wiggly friends. Woo! Yeah. We're going to explain why it looks like the spawn of Cthulhu, and we're also going to be spending a lot of time in this section right here called Genopatch. So Genopatch is going to take an incoming sound like this, and then analyze it, and make a synth patch from it that can then be played in the app. It's really, really cool. And it can do this with all kinds of content. We're going to figure out how far we can push it. And that's what you're looking at here on screen. It's just a ton of stuff that I've prepared in different categories. And these categories are all chapter marked. So check the chapter markings if you want to jump to a particular type of sound. Before we do that, though, let's get to know how this thing works. So I'm going to go back to the original thing right here, and I'm going to go ahead and create what's called a new seed. First, actually, you know what? Let's make this bigger. Let's go into Zoom. Wow. Wow. Big Synplant. Big old Synplant there. This is your seed. Down here, I'm holding down Control and creating a seed. We can, of course, open up one of the millions of presets that it comes with, but I don't think that this really is a great synth to work with presets. I think it's much more interesting to work with from scratch, or with Geno, whatever the hell this is. Okay, so let's find a seed. There we go. So we just made a new sound that's from scratch, right? So now, see how it says like C, C sharp, D, all the, like an octave worth of keys? If I take one of these and take this little thing here, it's generating a new sound, like mutating that sound based on the seed for that note. C sharp here is going to play the note C sharp, but it's also going to play close to the seed unless I do this. I'm going to turn down atonality so it doesn't actually change the pitch of things. You can hear that the warping is really wild, right? So each one of these seeds can have, you know, this many different like clones, just as many different mutations. And you can stack them as well. So here is layered. If I turn on the layers here, I can stack these and create a custom mix of all these odd sounds, which is pretty neat. If I ever want to start over again, just get a new random seed. So what I find is that Synplant makes really unique sounds that I wouldn't necessarily reach for. And then you get this really interesting interface here with, you know, atonality, release, tuning, the amount of effect, and volume. Down here at the bottom, we can do a few things. We can change this from a polyphonic sound to mono or legato. Pretty neat. We can turn up glide. We can also use the mod wheel here. So you can see wheel is set to growth plus. So if I have the mod wheel here, I can grow all of these at once, which is a great way of, if you're in this mode, to test all of the growths. So let's go ahead and do that. And this is going to get really crazy later when we start making sounds from samples. If you ever find a sound that you really like, find this sound right here, and I go, Let's say I like that sound. If I think if I control click on it, it turns that into the new seed. So you can just continually permutate on these sounds and in this very unique way create new sounds without ever looking at the synth engine itself. Though, however, it is useful to look at the synth engine and understand the magic behind here. So let's go over to the DNA thing up here. This is the synth engine, and it's a little precious. Like, this is very silly, but if you click on one of these, you're going to get to what's inside. Down here, these little asterisks tell you what each control does, and this is very helpful. Whoops. This is very helpful because these volume and mod things in the envelopes don't work exactly like I normally would associate with a synth. Like, attack doesn't work quite the way I thought. Like, this envelope time thing and tilt thing are very unique. So definitely get to know this section. Come in here with like a really basic sound and just experiment so you can get a sense of like how they work. Because if you're used to normal like ADSR, it's not going to work that way. So we have this page, we have the oscillator page. This is really interesting because this is where you get to see how simple the engine is for this synth. We have two oscillators. They can change. Go ahead and put oscillator mix over here. They can change continually between different waveforms, like that. We have an FM oscillator right here. So there's basic FM and two oscillators with noise. And the sounds that this can create with just that, I mean, you know what else we have out there. We have all kinds of crazy stuff like wavetable, you name it. We've got all the different synth types that exist out there. And this thing is just doing what it can do with this simple architecture, which I think is really, really neat. Here we have our filters and effects. We have a number of different filter types, as you can see. Bandpass filters are going to be doing a lot of work with some of these sounds. You see that we have two filters. Saturator. We have a reverb. And one of the cool things about GenoPatch is that it will actually interpret reverb from the sounds, and we'll see that, which is really neat. Beautiful. We have a bass and treble control here, which is very useful as well. And we have this clipper, which can turn sounds into some really nasty, great stuff. But even now, I really like this. It's cool. If you ever want to save a sound, you just come up here and click the little download thing right here, and it will save it. And you can name it. One thing before we leave this part, though, I will say we do have this envelope looping thing, which is really useful. Wow, it sounds really cool. And so it can do rhythmic stuff as well. If you want to have it sync to the tempo, you have to come back and make sure that sync is on right here. It's a little unintuitive, but yeah, that's what's going on. Okay, let's start making some patches out of samples. So I'm going to grab this sample right here, a very simple analog sounding low pass filter kind of sound. And let's hit the button. It's now generating variations on that sound. And it is pegging my CPU right now. All my cores are at 100%. And that is fine because I'm not going to try to play while this is happening. I can stop it at any time by hitting this little button right here. And now if I want to play with the sounds that it made, I just click one of these. So here's the original, and here's one of the sounds it made. You can hear it's very good at monophonic analog sounds. If I didn't like that little riz right at the beginning, I could delete this and change the sample like that, the sample range, and do it again. If you don't want to hear while stuff is happening, this little ear icon will turn off the preview for each patch. Just go ahead and click this one and stop it. And now I have a preset based on that sound. If I want to, I can come into the DNA and make adjustments. Like if I want to turn up the reverb. It's fantastic. I love it so much. And we can still do all of the crazy stuff here. Turn atonality down. Some very odd things that it's created here. And again, you can stack those if you want. And create custom sound like that. So let's keep on going. This will be the official chapter marker here for going through synth sounds.
Yes.
Sounds like a bandpass filter sweep. So something important to note is this tuning fork right here. This sample is in A, so without the tuning fork on, it's going to create the sample back at the at the pitch that was sent into it. So I'm now playing in A. You can see that through the tuner plugin I have right here, A. But if I turn this on, it will re-pitch the samples to C. So now this is what you want, basically. You want it to play C when you play C. That's so crazy. So why would you want to do this? That's a good question. The reason that you would want to do this is because these samples, if you wanted to play them polyphonically, aren't going to give you the fidelity across all of the range that you might want to play it. So like down here and up here, this is a synthetic sound. It's dictated by envelope times and the constant generation of an oscillator, as opposed to a sample, which is then pitched up and down and will have artifacts in it. So that's one of the main reasons, and it's a big one. Here's a little pluck sound. This one's going to benefit a lot from some reverb. So let's pick this one. And then, of course, we can go all weird with it. This is one of my favorite things to do, actually, is like, you can create the wildest melody lines by playing this version of the mutator, because every note is a slightly different, well, in some cases, very different synth sound. It's very, very cool. Can it do acid? Let's find out. Yeah. This is one where if we went to the main thing here, I'd want to make this legato. That's pretty fucking cool, honestly. I think this is the one it really likes. Yeah. You can hear that it's interpreting the reverb and adding reverb. It does look at these in a monophonic way. You can hear that all stereo information is removed once it's put into Genopatch. Again, come over here and make this legato. Hell yeah. Let's see how it deals with a crazy effect sound. It sounds like it just nailed it. Nice job. You can hear that there is polyphonic information here. Let's see how it goes. So it's trying to hit that fifth. You can hear it. It's actually not bad. It's a pretty great sound, too. I really like that organy stab sound kind of thing. Oh, that's good. You hear how it's using the noise oscillator to add that nice fizz on top? I really, really like that. Oh, that's cool. You can hear it picked up on the little... So that's going to be using the looping envelope here. You can hear, oh, and it quantized the modulation envelope. That's really cool. So that's this right here, I believe, which will smooth it out versus not. So you can hear, get that little, which is really, really cool. Why else you might want to use this is because, like, let's say if you just want these really specific, like, chiptune waveforms, like I thought, like, oh, like Game Boy or NES, like saw waves and square waves are unique and not just normal saw waves and square waves. So you can use this to model them. Like here is a Game Boy Square. And it's going to get it perfect pretty much right there. And so now you can use this for anything from a lead or obviously keys, or you could turn it into a pad and it will have whatever the sort of specialness that the Game Boy Square has. It looks like there's some pulse width modulation here. It's not like just a normal square. So it's a way you can model certain types of instruments with it. Yes. Basses. So I've got a variety of basses here. I'm a big fan of the organ bass, and it does it very well. Get a little stereo information there. That's cool. Ooh, here's an acoustic sound. Let's see how this sounds. Oh, it's interpreting the compression, like you can hear like the creak and the noise. It's interpreting that. See how it like comes into that second hit there? So here's a really simple bass in case you were worried. I know all the Instagram reels are showing people just like, oh, put a Juno 106 sound in it. It makes a Juno 106 sound. Well, yes, it can do simple basses. Life is like a hurricane here in Duckburg. Race cars, lasers, aeroplanes. David Tennant says trans rights. Graham Linehan doesn't like that. And so his agent dropped him. Turf Tails. Woo! Oh, here's a nice deep one. Oh, yeah. And it gets that stereo. I didn't ask for stereo, but I like it. So you wouldn't be able to do this with a sample because it would like break up if you tried to go too high or too low. But that's a great sounding bass. Really, really like that. All right, what else have we got? How about some more complicated sounds like these like neuro basses? All right, so I'm going to grab part of this. It's going to have a hard time doing all of it, but I'm going to grab this part right here, okay? This is where I was like, oh God, this engine can just do this stuff. Because like neuro is one of those, neurofunk is like one of those genres that's so, I don't know, sound design heavy. So it's really impressive to me. So where does it fail? It doesn't like these basses. These sort of like really hard, like bass music basses. So. You can hear how it's just breaking up. It doesn't really know what to do with that level of kind of distortion. And I found that with all these basses. It seems to have a bit of an issue for some reason. Well, we already did acoustic. What about something with a lot of noise? Yeah, pretty good. All right, let's move on to pads. Yes. It's pad time. Everybody loves those pads. I love pads. This was my first test to see how it could out with pads. Here's a really simple analog pad. Now, if I put this in the middle here, it's not going to pick up on the attack, but we can put the attack back in. That's fucking gnarly. Yeah, that one. That's beautiful. And again, like if I just try to take this pad and play it polyphonically, we would not get the same result at all. I hate this little wormy thing. These little worms remind me of those like parasitic worms that like get into like grasshoppers and stuff and make them drown themselves. I don't like it. So it's not getting that specific wow, but it is trying. I like that one. That's fucking cool. Let's go back into the engine real quick. Oh yeah, we haven't even been using our like crazy morpher here yet. That's so cool! So here's our original sound, and as I play different notes, I can create different timbre clusters. Whoa! You know, I'm a huge fan of Native Instruments' Playbox, which is a sort of like every note is a chord and a series of timbres that you can sort of manipulate either randomly or with the like sort of preset system that it has. This is starting to give me that vibe because like each note I play has a different vibe to it. So each chord that I play can have a different vibe to it. There's a lot going on in this pad. It's very complex. Let's see how it does it. Very Silent Hill, isn't it? So that's not terrible. So there's the sound. It's trying. There's like too many notes in this pad for it to really pick up on it. It's a cool sound though. I can trip it out. So this one has an FM sort of bell. Let's see how it does with that. It's actually really good at bell sounds, we'll find out later. I like that one. Turn these up and see what you get. A tonality down. That is so cool. That is so cool. So like organic sounding, so weirdly like my dog is in here and because like our little dog's in heat right now and he is intact. And I know this is TMI, but like he won't stop making this whining whistling sound. It's very bad for my stress level. He's just so, his brain's so fried right now, but I'm trying to be a good friend to him and let him stay in here. So you're going to have to deal with it too. I like how organic sounding it is, like, and weird. Like I'd never programmed that, but since everything's on its own note now, everything just kind of like has this, it's a really odd way of playing. Like it's very, very cool. I like it a lot. Ooh, it's more of a string. We got strings later. Oh, it nailed it. That's cool. Can it do like a church organ? It's got some crazy sci-fi sounds going on in there. Like, what was that? Like, what is that? Whoa! Whoa! Ooh, can it do like a... Can it do this? A little flute sound? Yeah, I'd say so. Again, I'm not going to program a sound like this. ever. Like, I don't even know how, honestly. We'll get to voices in a bit. It's not going to be able to do that one. Might be able to do this one. Let's just grab that last part there. It's really interesting. You can hear that mod envelope. Oof. So it didn't really pull off the voice here. I have heard it pull off voices pretty well. Yeah, I mean, it's trying. Pretty damn cool. Pretty cool. All right, next up, we're going to do some keys. Yes. All right, keys. So I have some stuff like this classic house piano. It's actually pretty good at this piano stuff. I'm surprised. I mean, I'm actually that surprised. It's not that complicated of a sound. Definitely weird. It's going to be really good at this Rhodes. Ooh, one of those had a kind of Tycho-esque Boards of Canada kind of sound to it. I like that one. Yeah, that's cool as hell. Ooh, sort of a DX7 stabby sound. It's funny because this was made with the DX7, and we don't know like how many operators or what the algorithm was they used, but this synth is barely able to do FM, and it's still able to kind of nail the sound, so that's kind of cool. That's fucking funky as hell. I like it. Ooh. This is another DX7 sound. I want to see if we can get rid of that, like, weird vibrato thing they have there. Ooh, that's a good one. It really can nail that DX7 sound. That's cool as heck. So here's a more acoustic piano sound. Let's see how it does with this. That's probably as close as it's going to get. It's got very Casio, like VL tone piano sound kind of thing, which is kind of cool. I like it because it's like, it's not quite reality. It's like, it's not quite right. Kind of like that. You hear that it retuned it. That's great. I like that. That's super cool. Let's add some extra. I got a couple of plugins over here for reverb and stuff. Reminds me a lot of like the Disaster Piece stuff, like Hyperlight Drifter. Even It Follows. It's like it sounds. It doesn't sound like a synth, even though it obviously does sound like a synth. It sounds like some kind of odd way of programming sounds that I think is very unique. That's super cool. Can it pull off a toy piano? Oh, that was weird. And just to remind you, we haven't touched the engine for a while now. We have no idea what's going on here. And that's how I like it. I think that pretty good job. Not perfect, but pretty good. Let's move on to plucked string sounds of various types. Yes. So these are going to be like ethnic mostly. One of the things I really like about this, we'll hear this more when we get into percussion, but it's very good at creating plucky sounds. It has that like exponential tung. And I think it does a pretty good job. Pretty good. Not quite there. It's like... Oh, there's a looping envelope going on there. That's very strange. So you can attempt to pull samples from longer works. It's not going to do very well with loops at all. But we can grab pieces of loops. Hush. And depending on how much information is in that, it will do, you know, well or not well. Let's see if we can grab right from the beginning there. So it's trying to mimic the fact that there's more than one note at the beginning. It's having a hard time. Interesting, it's interpreting a pitch thing at the end there. Normal guitar sound. The composer for Utopia and Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency, I can't remember what his name is, something on Cristobal. I feel like he'd like this quite a bit. It's very, very odd. All right, so that is some plucked stuff. Let's move on to bowed strings. It does very well with bowed strings. Yes. So this one is going to be interesting because it's going to reinterpret that reverb. Ooh. Got some looping envelope there. That's kind of neat. So we could sync this. One of the interesting things this also has is this envelope key follow, because you can hear this is like every 4 beats, and this is like quarter note. So that's a very, very unique performance thing. I don't think I've ever encountered that before. That's pretty neat. It's really good at these synth strings, like Selena and stuff like that. So if you ever want to just like, you could make all the Selena sounds, like just put them right in here. Here's a mellotron string. So again, with varying results, you could get like different classic synths and put them in here. The more complex the sound is, the harder it's going to have you know, a time to reproduce it, but I did okay with the mellotron. So here is a arco sound, an arco violin. It's got some echo already built into it, so it's probably going to be using the looping envelope. Yep, there it is. Pretty damn good. Oh gosh, there he is. Hi, this is the boy, and he's got a lot of feelings right now. Stop. Stop, 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 stop. Damn, that sounds good. I like that quite a bit. So we got winds, acoustic other, Vox, percussion, FX Foley, and memes. I've been recording for about 50 minutes. I think we're going to make this a two-parter. We're going to do a two-parter for this. So check back in the next video, and we will do the rest of what you see here. And hopefully that'll be fun. Thanks so much for watching. My name is Jeremy. This is Red Means Recording, and I will see you in the next Synplant video. Bye-bye.